Hello everybody, welcome to another video. It's been a while since I've posted. It's honestly been quite a transformative but rather time that I really needed to really focus on being present as possible, as well as learning to forgive myself for making decisions that might have not been 100% aligned with where I am at or where I'm trying to go right now. But understanding that this journey of healing, of renewal, of processing, of going through the motions and messing up and feeling and having things come up again is all a part of what healing is all about. I actually tried to make a video not that long ago, and it was really chaotic. I started forgetting what was the reason as to why I make these videos. There's the reason as to why I make art in general. And a lot of it had tied back to needing to appear a certain way. And I realized as of recently that I'm still masking. And in this masking, I am understanding that I am still sheltering myself from everything that I can be and allowing myself to expand and to grow into the person that I am always meant to be. But the fact that I have been letting myself back because of society, because of the people around me, of what is going on in social media, what is going on in the world, what is going on in other people's lives and things that they had going on. Even friends that I saw achieve certain opportunities. I was wondering, like, what am I doing wrong? Am I not doing enough? I should be more diligent. I should feel this way about this thing. I should treat this hobby or this craft or this certain part of my life this way because this person told me to, or this person did it this way and they were successful, or this person, everything but what was focusing on me. And lately, after just taking a break, even from removing myself from a lot of situations, moving away from certain people in my life, being able to understand that certain habits and certain things that did keep me alive, kept me well, kept me restored, that worked in the past, and now we're in the present. And for some reason, I had made myself feel as if I was incapable or inadequate in my craft, all because everything that I was doing was not exactly replicating a way that someone else did it and they ended up being successful. I have a trouble with being able to understand things as an individualistic perspective. I go by what I see. I never really knew the idea of setting my own example, especially when it comes to something like this that has to kind of be led by your own example, because it's literally your life. It's your story that you are writing. It's the one that has been perfectly crafted for you, but you're struggling, like wondering, well, why do I feel stagnant? Why do I not feel like I'm not going anywhere? Why do I feel like I'm having so much pressure in my heart, feeling so overwhelmed and feeling all these things, and forgetting the part where you're human. You're human. Today is Earth Day, for some context. And I usually have been going outside to my local reserves as usual. But for this one, I wanted to really put something out that is honoring the earth, that is honoring the way that this ball of mass and all of the things that include it has held me and has healed me and has helped me get thus far. Honestly, because nature, for if you know me personally, nature is my big escape. It's my peace, It is my home, my second home, because literally nature is everywhere. So it could be my home in one place and then also be my home in another, you know. But nature has done so much for me, including healing and including reminding me of who I am as a person, reclaiming my voice, reclaiming the way that I show up in this world. And it has changed my life for the better, to the point where I try to always incorporate being outside at least majority of the days over the week. I try to get outside and connect, because of the fact that when I don't connect, I literally have withdrawals, and that I actually feel disconnected. I feel anxious. I feel a lot of energy just attached onto me. I feel a lot of like harboring spirits and really dark and heavy energy on my shoulders. And so being connected to the trees, being connected to the vibrations of the earth, to the vibrations of the tree, being close to a tree, touching it, grounding in grass, whether it be walking through a trail, all of these things in conjunction have been ways that I've been able to really help myself heal certain parts of myself that I really struggled to for the longest time, to the point where when I was doing it more often, my mind actually was somewhat quiet for the first time. And if you're someone who does struggle with ADHD or autism or any of the tisms and neurodivergencies, I understand you and I feel you and I'm with you. Literally, I'm in the same boat. And I think that's why a lot of us who are neurodivergent, who are meant to do something very influential and powerful in this world, have such a hard time creating, because they're trying to adapt into a world that doesn't really have neurodivergent examples. Spaces where neurodivergency is something that is seen just as normal as seeing a man win a Grammy or any super big award that you see out there, you know? Like, there's not spaces where you see neurodivergent people who are very much actually afflicted and affected by these disorders, not people that just try to say that they have it, but they just a little quirky and they really just doing it because they want to fit in with the neurodivergence. No, it's people who actually do suffer and go through these disorders that we had to work through in the beginning for them to become our strengths, because they're no longer disorders. Anyone out there that has any of the diseases that they pose a disease, which is really just the inefficiency to be able to work in a capitalistic society, you understand that you are literally perfectly fine. You are a superhero. You know, you have superpowers. You have things that are very special about you, that are allowing you to be able to see the world in a different way that neurotypicals do not. And also it gives us the advantage because we're able to understand, able to think, able to be creative, able to do certain things that are not like how it has always been done before. And now you're starting to see more people in society, in the news and things like that, become more popularized or honored or respected or praised for their ability to become someone influential in their industry, also while being neurodivergent. But also these are still things that are not always usual or common. It's something that is just now starting to peek through. And I know that if you are watching this, if this video has found you, that you are someone that specifically has a great connection to wanting to do something special in this world, even change it if that's what you say. just want to make a mark that is influential, that is healing, that you know that you have a certain way of doing things in your life and for your life, and potential that you see inside of you to be something or someone or do something. And you understand, like, hey, I have a way that I could do this, but I feel like I could do this really, really well because I see my potential and I see where I could be and I see what I can do in this world. And then we try to step our toes out, our little toes out into the water to test it, to see how it feels. And you usually, and what a lot of times happens is you get scared or you flinch or you pull back or you diminish yourself. You start acting small. You start putting yourself into a space that is not your full extent or not your full potential or not your full being and embodiment of who you actually are, because you are already the person that you think inside of your head. You're already the person that you saw in the visions that you had about your future. But doing that and being that in a space where it is safe, and that is the highlight of this video, is being able to feel safe, being a neurodivergent creative that is also on top of that LGBT, as on top of that Black, Latina, Latino, whatever. Like, whatever that extra marginalized part is exactly what is the focus of the collective that I am speaking to, that I know that you guys are understanding what I'm saying right now, because it's real. It's real. And especially if you grew up in a certain town or city that is really small, that is in the Midwest, that is in suburbs, that is in an area where the way that you look doesn't really match everybody else. So then now you're like, okay, am I an alien or something? Because I know I was born here and I was placed on this area for some reason. But obviously, like, y'all making it seem like I wasn't supposed to be here, but I was already here, So, like, I'm just like, it don't make no sense. Why are you looking at me like that? Like, for real. So it's frustrating, and I understand you and I see you and I empathize with you so deeply, because these types of situations happen a lot and they don't really get observed, they don't really get talked about, they don't really get supported or emphasized, because usually the people of these spaces end up either just flowing in and fitting in with the rest of everybody else that's around them, or they'll end up just doing something that was expected of them, of their lineage, of what has already been going on, continuously following in whatever they're surrounded by. So it's that half and half, that yin and yang, that positive and negative, that urge of not being able to really control these two parts of yourselves that fully exist in this world, the one that we were given, the set of characteristic traits, the set of life experiences and things that your soul has decided to choose while you were on this earth for this lifetime, is usually what ends up wrapping us in a whole entire identity of who we think we are. And this is our ego. This is what we first develop when we are a child. We are nurtured and changed to our experiences that we experience as a young child. And whatever this ends up finishing or ends up looking like in the end result is what our identity is. And especially if you are LGBT, especially if you are of a certain gender identity. A whole thing, just for some context. Gender and a lot of these other things, a lot of the labels that are put and imposed upon us and are existing in this current world, in this modern world, are ones that never even existed. Not in the case that same-sex loving relationships didn't exist back then. That is not true. But the fact that the label and the word itself was something that has been imposed and has been created later in life, later after all of these things have happened. And it's something that, although yes, there's a part that you can feel pride and you can have the reclamation and have the desire and the just the bravery to identify certain things and certain labels that exist in this modern world. But on the other hand, there's that space where a lot of us will find ourselves struggling to have a label or struggling to find a place in this queer world, because there's a lot of queer people that don't necessarily fit in the LGBT community, whether that be a race difference or socioeconomic difference or just things like that even put LGBT or queer people in a limitation of not being able to find their community or find spaces where they can be fully themselves and be authentic and not be chastised for it, not be judged, not be shamed, not be envied by. And I know I'm saying this for a reason, but these type of spaces can be really difficult because of the fact that if you are part of the LGBT community, you would feel like as if, should I even have this title? Should I even feel proud to have this title or even reclaim the community as much as I truly want to? Because obviously it doesn't seem like there's a space for me for even to be proud in that, because someone is going to have an issue with it. And just me talking to you right now, babe, I'm just telling you, like, someone is going to have a problem with you regardless. Like, I'm just telling y'all, someone's going to have a problem with you regardless, because obviously people get too wrapped up in things that are outside of themselves to really recognize the problem that is within themselves and the reason why they inflict harm, envy, doubt, anything that's negative onto other people, because there's something that's within themselves that they are feeling like they lack, feeling like they kind of impose or have themselves or want secretly themselves, projections. And just to know that these things are not for you to claim, for you to carry, for you to even give a crap about, because it's not about you, babe. Did they make it your business by telling you that they had a problem with you? No, they did not. And if they did, it still is not your business, because obviously what exactly happened for that to occur, for you to feel like that, so do you, babe, okay, period. Clock that T, because a lot of people will just be trying to tell you about all their issues when really they just need to heal. They need to figure out themselves and then come back later, So, just reiterating, because I went on a rant and a tangent. See, this is a very neurodivergent space. This is very neurodivergent corner of the YouTube space of the world, because it's just not. And I'm learning to unmask slowly, which goes into the topic of this video, because I know it feels like I'm going off topic, but I really am, because everything that I say has something to do with what I'm talking about. But that's one thing about nature, is all these bugs. I need to get some sort of like natural bug stuff, because I'm not trying to get bit up this year. Like, they love to suck my ankles. That's all I'm saying. Like, they ankle meat. My friend said that the other day. I was like, I can't deal with all that. Because the itchiness, no, I don't need it. But basically, finding yourself and finding your space in these neurodivergent crowds and being a creative and having to navigate spaces where there's neurotypical people, that is a whole nother challenge and a whole nother discussion in itself. But one thing that I want you to know specifically, if you resonate with this and if this found you, that I am here for you. I love you. I am so proud of you, because not only are you being there for yourself, you are reclaiming your voice, you're reclaiming your quirks in a space where otherwise. They would have been shunned, they would have been chastised, they would have been criticized. You are still showing up as yourself, being yourself, doing what it is that you need to do in this world every single day. And I need you to remind yourself that, because as much as we think about how we could be doing more, especially if you're a neurodivergent creator, feeling like you could do more because you have all this time, it seems, but you're exhausted, you're stressed out, you're overwhelmed, you're feeling a sense of paralysis, you are feeling shameful, feeling guilty, feeling a lot of energy that has been harboring around you. You could be feeling any of these things, and it could cause you to not allow yourself to really let yourself be, to pause, to surrender, to sit back for a little bit, to tell all your inner voices, come on, babes, let's sit down, let's take care of what's going on inside. Because obviously our body is reacting this way because there's something that we are not taking attention to or taking heed to in our daily life. And so now it's manifesting physically, because the body needs us to be able to listen to it whenever it gives us signals, because that's what we have been blessed and we have been gifted, is with the ability for our body to tell us what is wrong. If we can't immediately figure it out, it's gonna find out anyway in some way. And like, I'm just telling you, the amount of times that I've had so many troubles with my diet lately, I don't know if y'all been having problems, but I'm just like, all of a sudden I can't eat a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I'm unable to keep certain foods down. Like, I'm just getting super sick, nauseous, having all sorts of issues, like gut issues. I feel like that's a very significant one. If y'all are experiencing this shift that is going on right now, everybody is kind of like going through this whole entire change where they are rearranging their whole life. Like, it's like when we was up in middle school, if you are early 2000s, or just like middle school days where you was, you know, doing the hashtag glow up challenge, where y'all was taking pictures of yourselves and like, I don't know, just doing all types of crazy health stuff, or just even like showing off what you doing or what you got going on or what you wearing or what you listening to, like just anything. And then you're gonna be like doing like the glow up challenge. And that was like our version of what we thought glowing up was, or what we thought self-care or upgrading was, or shifting, I guess, back then, which is really funny that I just thought about that. I don't know why. Shoot. But we're actually having like the real glow up challenge of our lives this year, because I just made a crazy connection last night. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. You know how it's the year of the nines? It's the end of a cycle. It's end of things that have been going on for the longest. And then at the same time, it is also the year of the serpent in Chinese traditions, terms, history. Shoot, I cannot think about the word right now, but like, just basically, just really think about it though. Because, sorry, I was just looking at my notes to see if I had it down, but like, literally, if y'all, if those who know the story of Adam and Eve, which I'm gonna do like a separate video on this because I feel like it's really interesting, and I want to do a deep dive that where I'm more informed on it, and I can really give y'all the full spiel. But from what I collected so far, is the story of Adam and Eve is actually the story of where humankind or human society introduced their first disconnect. And in this disconnect, there was an inability for mankind to really walk with womankind in unity, and being able to work with one another in harmony and in peace and love as it was meant to. As a lot of the times where you will hear people saying like women and men need to be together and this and that, and this also like ties into the whole LGBT conversation, where honestly, being LGBT is not a sin. It is not bad. Obviously, if you are in a religion where being LGBT is wrong for that specific religion, then the rules of that religion apply to you in a separate way compared to the way that spirituality works. That's why in spirituality is really the message of free will, of do what it is that feels good, that feels right, that is based on your intuition, based on your knowledge and your wisdom that you have acquired, of what you have gathered. You make decisions and you make situations and you learn and you do things through that way. But for this conversation, the story of Adam and Eve has to do with a serpent. And you know how it's the year of the snake. Again, I'm going to go into it in more detail because I can't really remember right now exactly the whole story. But there was a snake involved in that story. And this year is the year of the snake, 2025. And just basically the real story of Adam and Eve is going over the tale of how this disconnect in the dystopian society got played out in the start. Women got ignored and silenced. Our femme-presenting people got ignored and silenced. And so how this change in dynamic was where femme-presenting people or women were put on the back burner. They were silenced, they were ignored, they were chastised for being too outspoken. And you'll see this in history time and time again. And it was because it was constructed that way to lead women off of their path to gifts that the divine had already given them from the beginning. They were given, it was not something that was exactly earned. It was already within you. It was built within. And so with this, leadership became something that was off of the rails of being empathetic. Love was not so much the focus, but rather power and dominance. And these are really masculine, energetic traits that are very toxic and forced and are really strong. And in this, it creates an imbalance in the world because there's female and male powers and everything and energies in everything and everyone. So when these things got disbalanced amongst society, this is when the clash happened and where things kind of changed, not so much for the better. And it got really hard for women, especially neurodivergent individuals, neurodivergent women, black women. They specifically got it the worst, and they still get it the worst, unfortunately. Obviously, society is starting to change and starting to understand like how important these voices are, just as everybody else's. But it was still and has still been very difficult. So just knowing, based off of that, I want y'all to know that I see you and I'm sending you love. I'm sending you peace because this world is not exactly one that is easy to deal with. A lot of the time we'll have the guides and the messages and the ways that we can upgrade and to really be able to get through experiences, but some people hit it later than others. So that is always a message overall, to just stay kind and stay conscientious, stay empathetic, stay loving, to do things out of your heart, in your heart, out of compassion, not only for others, but mostly yourself. If you're listening to this, you're probably someone that doesn't emphasize self-care enough or doesn't practice it enough. You feel like if you do self-care, you don't exactly feel fulfilled or energized or better off. Sometimes you might feel the same or you might feel worse. And a big reason as to this is because you are not giving yourself the proper self-care, the proper rest, the proper things that you need in order to satisfy your soul, satisfy your needs, not in a neurotypical way, but in a neurodivergent way, because it's different. And in a way that sometimes I like to think, and I've always thought as a kid, like, me being this way, I feel like it's the right way, or it's a way that makes sense completely to me, that it works. The way that I think, the way that I communicate, the way I interact with others. And that came from like a very highly egotistical place because I was a kid. But at the same time, I feel like there's a discussion of being neurotypicals being people who actually mask the most or have developed a personality that meshes in with everything else, that is not individualistic, that is not really awake or plugged in. And that's a discussion for another time, but that's some tea right there. And I'm gonna clock it because, like, if, what is bad? Shame on me for having emotions? Like, damn. Like, what you mean? I thought emotions were wonderful. But yeah, I just wanted to take a moment too because this is so beautiful where I'm sitting at right now. It's literally like the perfect little cliff, little nook right next to this big, gorgeous tree. I'm gonna show y'all when I'm done, but yeah, it's just gorgeous. This is such an amazing way to spend Earth Day. I don't know if y'all celebrated 420 because I know it's also Easter weekend, but I don't celebrate Easter. That's a whole nother discussion because I don't know what that is. But yeah, 420 was an experience. Did some traveling, did some sightseeing, did some feeling. But yeah, I hope that y'all have been taking care of yourselves lately, have been slowing down. That's something that has been a really big focus and a really big need of this collective, is to slow down. Really slow down, because a lot of us move really fast in life. We move in the speed that capitalistic society has always moved and has been able to move. But neurodivergence and people just who are just very spiritually in tune, I feel like those things go hand in hand. But we need to take some more time to be slow, to move with intention, because the focus right now, if you are struggling, the focus right now is to slow down. And when I mean slow down, I mean you damn near have to not really think, but put the thought in your mind about what it is that you are about to do, want to do, or going to do. Every time you have something that comes up, or a situation that comes up, an invitation, an event, whatever it may be, you always have to ask yourself, is this what I want right now? Is this going to fulfill what I need at this very moment? And you also have to ask yourself what it is that I need. What is it that I need? What is my body yearning for? What am I craving? And especially this goes hand in hand with like talking about food. I'm sorry, I'm literally on this cliff, so it's kind of scary. But literally, like, what do you want? A lot of people, like, we never even got to ask this question to ourselves when we were younger because those decisions were made for us sometimes, or they would be silenced, or they wouldn't care, or they would just be like, that's an inconvenience, like, we don't care, or we're gonna go do with this, or we're gonna go with this, or you're just silenced. And so now, being at the space that we were at, the space where we are safe, because we are safe to feel these things, that's why they are coming up, but we're safe now to experience this, to have the situation come up, and for us to actually ask ourselves, what is it do I want? What will make me feel good right now? What will get my needs met right now? And then you go from there. And a lot of us will find out that we are still exerting ourselves and putting ourselves in places and situations that not only self-sabotage us, but put us in a lower energy, that exhaust us, that hurt us sometimes, that overwhelm us, because we are trying to fit in. We're trying to go with the flow a lot of times, like going with the flow, and also going with the flow, but in resistance to ourselves. But because of the fact that other people's needs are being put above ourselves, which is people pleasing, and then needing to come off in a certain way, masking, putting yourself around energy just because you know, ooh, it's all these bugs. Go away, please, go away. Ooh, I feel like I'm getting bit up. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, y'all. See, that's one thing I'm gonna have to remember. If I'm gonna start doing this, I gotta take my bug spray outside, cause this is not giving. This is not what I need right now. I'm getting itchy. But anywho, we're gonna wrap this up. But yeah, slow down. Think about what it is that you want. Ooh, that was a big buzzer. But yeah, think about what you want. Ask yourself, talk to yourself. I talk to myself a lot, like literally every single day, almost every hour. It's normal at this point. Like, if y'all hear me, no, you don't. Okay, like, I'm literally in my own world when I'm talking to myself. But tap into your soul. Are you staying in alignment to the vibration that you want to uphold, that you want to have, that you want to feel? And if you're having or experiencing a dip in your vibration, that is not necessarily a bad thing. That sometimes you got to meet yourself where you are at, because spirituality does not just include when you're high vibrational. That is not what spirituality is. That's not what spirituality, like spiritual abundance and wealth is. It is coming from a source of you understanding and knowing and trusting in the universe that you are protected, you are covered, you are loved, you are worthy, you are respected, and you are deserving of everything and more, literally and abundantly more than what you already have in your mind and what you have placed in your heart and what you tell yourself every day. Understand that. So when it comes to creativity, my love, please take it easy on yourself. Stop judging yourself. Stop being hard on yourself, okay? Because sometimes it takes time for people to create. But at the same time, art and creativity is supposed to be fun. So remember what you do it for. Remember why it makes you happy and it brings you enjoyment. Focus on that. And when it's time for you to put your stuff back out there again, when it's time for you to upload or to be yourself, to do what you gotta do, your spirit will know. And know that it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be amazing, it doesn't have to be super splendor or the best thing that you've ever created when you do. There's been so many dogs walking past. I love this, but yeah. I'm sending you so much love. I'm sending you peace. I'm sending you grace. I'm urging you to have grace in your heart. I'm urging you to have peace, love, and understanding for yourself, respect for yourself, upholding yourself, treating yourself like you are divine, because you are. Like, that's just a given. You are divinity. You are already. So I love you. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for staying until the end of it with me through all of my sufferings and little moments. But yeah, I'm about to enjoy the rest of my day, enjoy the rest of this beautiful, beautiful oasis. Oasis is just a little park, really. But it's heaven, it's paradise, period. Ooh. Oh, I'm sorry, that was a big one. Okay. I love you. Bye, guys. I'm gonna see you on the next video. Okay. Peace.